Now, food inflation has been a problem for lots of households during the cost of living crisis over the last couple of years, but it's especially hit those who require a specialist diet, including gluten-free bread or pasta, because those prices are often much higher for the free-from range of foods.
Ben has all the details, and I know already, Ben, lots of people have been in touch about this morning.
We have had so many emails, so many WhatsApps, and these ranges, these free-from alternative products have become such a familiar sight in food shops and supermarkets. But as you say, they are often more expensive. Good morning to you. Yeah, like other foods, these products also went up in price as inflation soared. Remember, food inflation hit 19.2% in March last year, although, of course, that has since slowed. There's growing demand for these free-from products. Sales of plant-based milk alternatives, for example, have reportedly increased by 10% in the last 2 years alone. Yet, despite their increasing popularity, these ranges are still more expensive, and it adds up. The cost of an average weekly shop for someone buying gluten-free products is 35% higher than a regular shop. That's according to research done by the Celiac Society, which supports people with the condition that means they cannot eat gluten. That's the protein that's found in wheat. The group's research also found that gluten-free bread was, on average, 4.5 times more expensive, and gluten-free pasta was, on average, double the cost of regular pasta. And gluten-free cereals were, in some cases, more than twice the price. And it's not just people living with celiac disease who require these products. There are a whole number of medical conditions which mean that some people have to restrict what they eat, like Becky.
I speak to a huge amount of people, and myself, I've been gluten-free 15 years, and it is a real struggle. And I think the hardest thing I find is that gluten-free is not a choice. We don't choose to be gluten-free. So the fact that we're having to spend so much more on products is just absolutely crazy. You know, we want to be able to just eat those everyday products. We don't want to have to chuck them out of our diets or think about eating stuff that we shouldn't, because it will make us really sick. So it's just the most frustrating thing. And it goes across the board that, you know, when you're adding in all these free-from products into your basket, that's going to add up and cost a huge amount of money more.
So the obvious question, why are these free-from products often more expensive?
Well, when you look at the products themselves, it's the cost of the supply chain. So in the supply chain, they are more expensive. So the actual ingredients themselves, the raw ingredients, are more expensive because they are more niche. And then what you also have to think about actually is the downtime. So when you are producing the products, you have to clean down on the manufacturing side. Of any factory, you have to make sure there's no contamination at all. And then when you are manufacturing itself, the runs that you use are much smaller than for a standard product. So if you've got lots of downtime, if you've got low runs and high ingredients, that makes all in all for a much more expensive product.
And that's reflected in what the British Retail Consortium has told us. It says that retailers have worked hard to stock these items, but they are more expensive to produce, and so that gets passed on through higher prices. I have to say, Sally and John, we have had so many messages about this morning. Melanie from Cambridge, who is a celiac, she says, I am horrified at food prices. The bread comes in tiny loaves, extra tiny slices, and twice the price. This is for gluten-free bread. She also points out surcharges for meals out. She's been charged £2, even £4 extra the other day for her meal as opposed to her husband's. And another issue for her is trying to read the tiny lettering of the ingredients. Similar situation for Deborah. She says she has many food allergies and sensitivities to things like gluten, egg, cheese and yeast. She says, I need to buy gluten-free bread and sometimes vegan products. Horrendously expensive. One small loaf of bread, for example, can be up to £3. Vegan products, she says, like cheese, can be priced at well over £3 for just one small block. It is horrendous, she says. Same sentiment reflected in so many other messages. Jean from Abergele says her weekly shop is a lot more expensive. The choice isn't great either. For her, a big issue is eating out. She says a lot of places don't cater, she finds, and those that do are more expensive. One more, Shannon from Manchester, can't eat dairy and the cost of dairy-free products. She says one dairy-free yoghurt, £1.25. She can get a pack of 6 regular ones for £4. She says the regular one's basically half the price. How does that make sense? It's reflected in so many comments. If people are watching and they've got similar situations or tips, even advice to share, all the details on the screen now to get in touch.
Because it's not something you can get around. You know, if that's your intolerance or your allergy, you've just got to go with it, haven't you?
And that's exactly the sentiment that's been conveyed. Someone's saying it's not a fad. These are medical conditions that are being penalised.
Ben, thank you.
Thank you so much.